The stars shimmered brightly against the black velvet of space, but Earth's place among them had suddenly dimmed. It had always been a proud member of the Galactic Council, a collection of the most advanced species in the galaxy, but now it had been cast aside. The Council had voted to expel humanity with little more than a whispered explanation. The decision was swift, with little room for debate, and its impact was immediate. Earth, its people, and its allies had been betrayed. In the hallowed halls of the United Nations Council chamber, Earth's representatives sat in stunned silence. The holographic projection of the Galactic Council president hovered before them, a towering figure of blue and silver, an alien species known as the Zantiri. His cold, emotionless voice reverberated through the chamber. Earth has demonstrated an increasingly dangerous disregard for intergalactic protocol. As a result, the Council has unanimously decided to expel your planet from the Galactic Alliance. The words struck like a blow. The human delegate, Ambassador Victoria Locke, struggled to maintain composure. She had spent years in diplomatic negotiations, building trust, gaining influence. Now it was all unraveling in a single sentence. "Dangerous?" Locke asked, her voice shaking with disbelief. "We've followed every law, abided by every regulation. Your expansion into the Rixus sector," the Zantiri president interjected, "was an unauthorized military operation. Your continued colonization efforts in the Clax cluster have destabilized peaceful systems. The Council can no longer ignore your behavior." Locke's heart pounded. The Clax cluster had been a contested area, but Earth's peaceful colonization efforts had been viewed as a stabilizing force. The accusations felt unjust. The Rixus sector, where Earth had recently established a base, had been a disputed region for years, and their mission there had been humanitarian, not military. But these facts didn't seem to matter to the Council. To them, Earth was a growing threat. "I don't understand," Locke said, her voice faltering. "Our people have worked tirelessly to cooperate with the Council. We've helped in countless scientific projects, shared resources, and provided military support in times of crisis. Why are we being singled out?" "The Council believes your species poses a risk to the balance of power," the Zantiri leader answered, his tone final. "You act without regard for the larger consequences, driven by your own aggressive expansionism. We cannot allow you to continue. Earth is hereby banned from the Galactic Council." The room erupted into murmurs, but Locke remained still, her mind racing. The accusations were baseless. The Rixus sector had been nothing but a peacekeeping mission, and Earth's role in the Council had been nothing short of exemplary. Yet here they were, abandoned, outcast. She glanced at the other humans in the room. Diplomats, scientists, military strategists. They were all as shocked as she was, but there was an undercurrent of something else, an emotion she couldn't place. Before she could respond, the holographic figure flickered, then faded. The message was clear. There was no appeal. There was no room for negotiation. Earth was no longer welcome in the galaxy's most powerful alliance. As the holograms dissipated, the humans in the room exchanged glances. Locke turned to her colleagues, but before she could speak, General Marcus Kane, one of Earth's top military leaders, stood up, his face grim. "This isn't over," he muttered. "We'll find a way to show them they made a mistake." Locke's mind raced. The general's words were more than just defiance. They were a call to action. In the days that followed, a wave of outrage swept across Earth. News of the expulsion spread quickly, and the global response was unified. Humankind would not accept this insult quietly. Riots broke out in several major cities, but not in the way the Council might have expected. These were not protests. These were declarations. Humanity's spirit, long known for its stubbornness and drive, flared up. In private meetings with Earth's leadership, President Eleanor Hayes took a firm stand. "We can't just lie down and accept this. The Council fears us. They know we're a threat, and they're trying to stamp us out before we can truly become one." She looked at the other leaders around the table, scientists, military commanders, and political advisors, and the room was filled with a collective resolve. It was time to act. "We will build our own empire," she declared. "We will show them that Earth can stand on its own." that humanity's potential is far beyond what they fear. General Kane spoke again, his voice confident. We've already started preparing. Earth's military capabilities are far beyond what the Council knows. We can make our own way in this galaxy. If they want to see what humanity is capable of, we'll show them. In the coming days, the Terran Empire was born. A clandestine alliance of Earth's military leaders, scientists, and diplomats began working in secret to establish an independent empire, one free from the Council's reach. Their first steps would be to bolster their military power, build new technologies, and form alliances with alien species that had long suffered under Council rule. Despite the bleakness of their situation, there was no fear, only resolve. Earth, once an underdog in the vastness of the galaxy, was now poised to show its true strength. They had been cast out, but they would not be forgotten. The galaxy would soon learn that the Terran Empire had risen, and no one would stand in its way. In the wake of Earth's expulsion from the Galactic Council, the planet's leadership swiftly shifted into action. The days following the Council's decision were marked by a quiet, determined frenzy. President Eleanor Hayes, General Marcus Kane, and a select few of Earth's brightest minds gathered in underground bunkers, far from the prying eyes of the Council's spies. They were preparing for something grand, a new era, forged by their own hands. The Terran Empire was born not from a desire for vengeance, but from necessity. Earth had been pushed to the edge of the galaxy's political stage, and if they were to survive and thrive, they would need to build their own empire, an empire founded on strength, independence, and the belief that humanity's potential was limitless. The Council may have expelled us, President Hayes said during one of the early meetings, her voice calm yet filled with a quiet intensity. But they've underestimated our resilience. We'll show them that they've made a terrible mistake. General Kane leaned forward, a holographic map of the galaxy hovering in the air before him. We've already begun. Our scientists have been working on a new class of warships, the dreadnoughts. We've salvaged alien technology, improved upon it, and integrated human ingenuity. These ships will make our enemies tremble. Hayes nodded. And the military is ready to mobilize? More than ready, Kane replied. We've got the soldiers, the weapons, the resources. The Terran Legion will be the backbone of this empire. But we'll need more, alliances with alien species that the Council has ignored or oppressed. We're not going to do this alone. The first move came swiftly. The Terran fleet, now a formidable force thanks to newly designed ships and advanced AI systems, set out to establish a military presence in the uncharted sectors. These sectors had long been outside the Council's strict influence, and many of the systems there had suffered under Council rule. It was a calculated move, but also a diplomatic one. Earth would offer protection to the species in these regions, and in return, they would pledge allegiance to the Terran Empire. One of the first to join was the Xelon, a reptilian race whose homeworld had been under Council oversight for centuries. The Xelon had endured endless exploitation, their resources stripped and their people subjugated. When a Terran envoy arrived on their homeworld, they were met not with resistance, but with hope. The Xelon quickly pledged their support, eager to break free from the shackles of the Council. The message was clear: Earth would no longer be silenced. One by one, planets and systems under Council control began to turn their eyes toward the growing Terran Empire, wondering if this new force would offer them the freedom they had long been denied. On Earth, the response was nothing short of patriotic. Humanity, once fragmented and divided, now rallied behind the idea of an empire that would stand on its own terms. Scientists from across the world worked in unison, sharing their knowledge and advancing new technologies. Engineers and military strategists worked tirelessly to produce new fleets, weapons, and defense systems. The Terran Empire would be built not just on military might, but on the scientific and cultural ingenuity that defined humanity. But the Council, though initially slow to react, could feel the stirrings of this new power in the galaxy. They had underestimated humanity before, and they would do so no longer. A message was sent to Earth, a reminder of the power the Council still wielded. You may have gained a few allies, the Council warned, but the galaxy is vast. You will never be allowed to stand as an equal among us. The Terran Empire's answer was simple: They didn't need the Council to thrive. Humanity's future lay in their own hands, and with each passing day, the Empire grew stronger. General Kane's voice was steady as he looked at the maps, outlining the next phase of their expansion. We've got the technology, the will, and the people. The galaxy will soon know that Earth stands united, and we will not be denied. And so, the Terran Empire began to take shape. The first step of their great reclamation had been made. It was just the beginning, but already the galaxy was on notice. The Terran Empire had been born in secrecy, but now it was beginning to stretch its limbs, to carve out its place in the galaxy. Earth's leadership knew that it was not enough to simply survive. They had to prove their strength and resolve. With the first victories behind them, humanity began to expand beyond their home system, reaching into the far corners of space, claiming systems and forging alliances. Earth was no longer just a member of the Galactic Council. It was the nucleus of a rising power, one the galaxy would soon come to fear. General Marcus Kane stood at the helm of the Terran flagship, the pride of Sol, staring out at the stars through the viewport. His fleet, now a formidable armada, had just secured another system on the outskirts of Council space. This victory, like the others before it, was both strategic and symbolic. The Council's influence was waning, and Earth's banner was being raised higher with each passing day. "We've taken another one, General," said Commander Elizabeth Hale, standing beside him. She was one of the first to join the Terran military, a veteran of Earth's most intense conflicts. "The Zyphar system is ours now." Kane nodded. The Zyphar system, once a contested region in the Council's territory, was rich in resources and strategically important. With its capture, Earth had gained a foothold in a new sector, one where the Council's grip was weak. The Zyphar people, once subjugated and oppressed, had welcomed the Terran fleet with open arms. Many had suffered under the Council's demands, their resources drained to fuel the ambitions of a distant and uncaring bureaucracy. Under the Terran Empire, they were promised self-determination and protection. Zyphar was only the beginning, Kane said, his voice cold but resolute. "We've got more systems to claim. We need to expand our reach, make them understand that we won't stop until we've reclaimed our rightful place in the galaxy." The first step in this next phase was clear: diplomacy. Earth wasn't going to conquer every system by force alone. They needed to offer something the Council never had: true freedom. They began to send emissaries to planets across uncharted space, offering the opportunity to join the Terran Empire. In exchange, those worlds would receive the protection of Earth's military might, technological advancements, and the promise of sovereignty. The response was overwhelming. The Flax, a peaceful, technologically advanced species from a distant world, were the first to officially join the Empire. Once under the Council's rule, their peaceful nature had made them vulnerable to exploitation. But now, under the Terran banner, they could finally thrive. "The galaxy's changing," President Eleanor Hayes said in a broadcast to the people of Earth. "We are creating something new. The Terran Empire isn't just about military might. It's about opportunity. It's about freedom for those who've never known it." The news spread like wildfire, and other systems began to pledge allegiance to the growing empire. It wasn't just Earth's military superiority that was winning them allies. It was their ideals. The Terran Empire was more than a conquest. It was a movement. Humanity, long mocked as primitive and impulsive by the Council, had proven its worth. They were building something greater than themselves, something the galaxy had never seen. But the Council, although divided and weakened, wasn't finished. Their response came quickly. A fleet of Council ships, assembled from various member species, arrived at the edge of the newly claimed Terran systems. The ships were sleek, advanced, and outnumbered Earth's fleets 3-1. The Council was sending a message: stop expanding or face consequences. In response, General Kane called for a rallying cry. "We're not backing down. The Council wants to intimidate us? Let them try." The Terran fleet was outnumbered, but their tactics were precise, their technology superior. They had learned from every battle, each skirmish, refining their strategies. Earth's ships, equipped with experimental weapons and AI-driven coordination, outmaneuvered the Council's fleets at every turn. The battle that ensued was brutal, but the Terran forces emerged victorious. This time, the message was clear: Earth would not be intimidated. The Terran Empire was not just a passing threat. It was a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would soon have no choice but to reckon with it. In the wake of their victory, Earth's influence spread even faster. The once proud Galactic Council was now struggling to maintain control, while the Terran Empire, born out of defiance and necessity, was growing stronger by the day. "We've crossed a threshold," President Hayes said in her address to the galaxy. "The Terran Empire is here to stay, and we are not done. Not by a long shot." The victory at Zyphar and the subsequent expansion of the Terran Empire sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Humanity's rise from outcast to empire builder was nothing short of extraordinary. Systems that had once languished under the Galactic Council's thumb now rallied to Earth's banner, drawn by promises of freedom and self-determination. But as the Terran Empire grew, so did the Council's determination to stamp it out. In the heart of the Council's capital, a planet called Elysium, the ruling body convened in a rare emergency session. The Council members, representatives of hundreds of different species, sat in a grand hall, their forms flickering as holographic projections. Their faces, some humanoid, others alien beyond recognition, were filled with concern. "We have underestimated them," said Vraxel, a hulking, insectoid creature who represented the Drellian Consortium. His voice buzzed with agitation. "The humans have defied us, and they've gained too much ground. Their tactics are beyond anything we anticipated." Across from him, a slim, aquatic species known as the Eritans spoke with cold precision. "We cannot allow the Terran Empire to continue growing unchecked. Their military might and diplomatic success are a threat to the Council's unity. If we do not act soon, the entire galactic balance will shift in their favor." Chancellor Thal, the leader of the Galactic Council and a member of the ancient, near-immortal race known as the Zyphorian, sat silently as his colleagues debated. His eyes glowed with a knowing calm, but there was no mistaking the fire beneath the surface. He had seen the rise of Earth's influence, and it concerned him deeply. "The Terrans are different," Thal finally spoke, his voice calm, yet laced with authority. "They are adaptable, resilient, but they are also reckless. We will use this against them." Vraxel raised an eyebrow, his mandibles clicking together in thought. "Reckless how?" Thal's gaze sharpened. "They believe they are invincible, that they are beyond our reach. We will exploit that arrogance. We will make them overextend. The Terran Empire is not as stable as they think." The Council members exchanged looks, their unease palpable. But Thal's plan was set in motion. The Council's first move was subtle, a series of covert operations designed to destabilize the newly claimed Terran systems. Sabotage, misinformation, and the backing of rebel groups began to sow division among the worlds Earth had liberated. The Council would not engage in open war, not yet. They would break the Empire from within. Back on Earth, President Eleanor Hayes and General Marcus Kane were already aware of the growing tensions. The sabotage operations were taking their toll, though they had managed to suppress the worst of the damage. But the strain was starting to show. There were whispers of rebellion in the newly acquired territories. Some of the species, promised autonomy, were beginning to question whether Earth could truly provide the stability they had been promised. "This is bigger than we thought," Kane said, his voice grim as he stood in the command center aboard the Pride of Sol. "The Council isn't just sitting back. They're pulling strings, trying to turn our new allies against us." Hayes clenched her fists, staring at the reports of insurgent activity. "We knew they'd strike back eventually, but we'll fight back harder. This is a test of everything we've built. We can't let them divide us." The Empire's next move was equally decisive. They would strike at the heart of the Council's influence, its control over key trade routes and vital resources. Earth's fleets began a series of calculated raids against Council-aligned trade ships and outposts, destabilizing their supply chains and forcing them to defend their holdings across multiple fronts. The message was clear: Earth would not be intimidated, and the Terran Empire was not going to shrink from its mission. But even as Earth struck back, the Council's countermeasures grew more aggressive. They had started to tighten their grip on the galaxy's power, and a large-scale military buildup was underway. The final confrontation seemed inevitable. "We're at a crossroads," Hayes said in a private meeting with her senior advisors. "The Council may have underestimated us, but they won't make that mistake again. We need to prepare for the war they're about to bring." General Kane's expression hardened. "Let them come. We'll make sure they regret it." The stage was set. The Galactic Council had made its move, but the Terran Empire was ready for the challenge. The war that would determine the future of the galaxy was about to begin, and Earth would not back down.